Hello, my name is Mars, and welcome back to the Rise of the Golden Idol, the Lemurian Phoenix DLC. Let's just jump right into our next case. Eternity's End. A spiritual leader meets an unexpected fate. Alright, let's take a look at the people first. I felt sick after dinner last night, but it passed quickly. At first, I assumed it must be food poisoning. Then, after I began vomiting foam, I thought maybe the virus had returned. Now, though, I finally understand. My body knew something was wrong with First Sentinel Nagasai. First Sentinel? Is that not the same guy who killed the king last time? As First Sentinel Nagasai scribe of 28 years, I feel it my duty to document this morning's tragic events. By the time I awoke, Kwanzaa was already laying on the table. When I came outside, I saw her knock for First Sentinel Nagasai, but no one answered, so she let herself into his quarters. A few moments ago, she emerged and told us all the terrible news. He too had fallen ill, but he had died in his sleep. Ori and Koi have been allowed to see their father while the rest of us wait outside. So, Ori and Koi are the children of the First Sentinel. We know that. I'm guessing that the person speaking is Gresto, just because they're the one holding this note. The same thing happened to me. I threw up all foamy after dinner, but soon I was fine again. I wonder why only us two seem to have been affected. Perhaps we have unknowingly reached a higher level of empathy than the others. Levels of empathy? That sounds familiar from the base game, doesn't it? Which allowed us to feel the First Sentinel's energy moving through us in his final moments. You shouldn't feel sick, or sad for that matter. You should feel nothing in particular, for he is not gone. His consciousness has simply been redistributed. Now come on, I've already laid the table. Let's eat breakfast. We don't want to waste last night's leftovers going to waste. We don't want last night's leftovers going to waste. Okay. So we're obviously in a cult of some kind. Okay, so there's a stake in the ground with a rope, a very short rope tied around it. Here's a journal, the Newcomer's Handbook. Gardening duties continued. Evening. During the evening you may rest. Cooking duties. Morning. Serve everyone their own leftovers from the previous evening's meal. Afternoon. During the afternoon fast, you may take time off to meditate or study. Evening. Cook, bless, and serve, asterisk, a hearty yet simple meal of spiced rice. When setting the table, remember, the longer a dedicant has been here, the closer to the First Sentinel's end of the table they have the honor of sitting. Okay, so basically, when we say seats, we have to decide who's been here the longest, basically. Yeah. The longer a dedicant has been here, the closer to the First Sentinel's end of the table they have the honor of sitting. Which end is the First Sentinel's end, is the question. Okay. A mint plant, a jasmine plant, and a chili plant. Okay. Okay, here are the seats. Here are the place settings. So these are last night's leftovers, according to this woman, and the fact that it's morning. So why would a seat have even been placed for the First Sentinel if he's dead? Okay, so a lot of spices and stuff. Chili powder, coriander seeds, cumin seeds, mustard seeds, mint, jasmine. Make your rice twice as nice. Wild mix, mint leaves, mustard seeds, and coriander seeds. Whole. Fresh mix, mint leaves, chili powder, and mustard seeds ground. By adding your choice of spice. Okay. Mild mix, jasmine leaves, coriander seeds, and cumin seeds, both ground. Earth mix, jasmine leaves, chili powder, and cumin seeds whole. Alright. So I think we have a good sampling of each here. So we probably need to know which mix each person likes in order to determine where they're sitting. So, bathroom, antiemetics, avoid alcohol during usage period, prescribed by Dr. Julian Prenzi, okay. Homeopathic solution, Moondrift, prescribed by Rello Krish. Moondrift, oh my god, there are so many things for poisoning here. Common Restore Moisturizer, ingredients, clear jojoba oil, jasmine petal paste. Mouthwash, a toothbrush, and a straight razor. Okay. Waterfall Proclamations. December 4th, 1912. First Sentinels may not accept donations. They must do away with material goods and wealth. February 13th, 1915. When a first Sentinel dies, his eldest son succeeds him. If the first Sentinel had no sons, there can be no new first Sentinel until another is chosen by the universe to fulfill the ancient prophecy. November 23rd, 1915. In the case of twins, there can be 2 first Sentinels. Was that relevant at some point? June 3rd, 1939. Sin is no longer to be met with punishment but compassion. November 24th, 1940. The first true First Sentinel Nagasai, will live forever. Okay, so this community has been around for quite a while. Since 1912, at least, at the earliest. But then a big change came in 1939. There was suddenly a change in attitude that was big enough to be added to the proclamations, and we can see here that this probably came from the influence of Nagasai. Duties Rota. Okay. Dedicants Nosy, Raffelli, and Tranta. Excellent work lately. The universe will surely reward you. Boys, I expect the same output from you as from any other dedicant. Raise your standards. Okay, so Nosy, Raffelli, and Tranta are the women, and the others are boys. Okay. I should probably write down what all of these names are. Do they have first and last names? They do have first and last names. Okay. So, I see a QR. I see a KN. I see a PN, an ON, an AT, and a GN. And then are the rest of them all repeated? Yes, they're all shuffled throughout the week. Okay, I see. What day is today, though? Okay, I think that is all of the points here. Okay. Now, let's see. The guy who died. He has, the symbol of the Heritage Foundation put over his eyes. The man is not breathing. He has something coming out of his mouth. Okay. This image on the wall is probably important. There's a man in a building that's on fire. The building collapses and now the man is on fire. Then the water comes and puts out the fire. And then there's this man. I don't entirely understand it, but I'm sure more clues will come to light. From what everyone here has told me, it sounds like the virus you all had a couple of weeks ago is going around again. Surprising though, I'd have expected you all to be immune from getting it a second time. It's also strange that Mr. Nagasai succumbed to the virus while the 2 others who caught it again seem to have shaken it off. We'll need a full autopsy to get to the bottom of this, so this is probably the doctor. It might be the doctor. Patient history, Pravi Nagasai. Known conditions. Suffered severe burns as a young man. Otherwise remarkably fit and healthy for his age. So my guess is that Pravi is in fact the first Sentinel, because he has clear burn marks on his face, and it would fit with his backstory as depicted here. Ongoing recommendations. Cover burn areas from direct sunlight, and moisturize burn areas each night before bed. Copy of notes from previous appointment. Date, November 10th, 1940. Symptoms, foamy vomit. Diagnosis, Andipi virus. Prescription: antiemetics, fluids, and rest. All followers also infected. Some insist on taking Quack's medicine. Okay, so this woman is like a real doctor. And I think we can tell that by the symbol on her head, because I remember in the base game there was a case where we saw a paramedic and a medic, and they had symbols like these on their hats. So this must be like a professional doctor from outside the community. Just based on vibes, I'm guessing that this man is the Quack she is referring to. Absolutely not. No man of his position should ever be made to suffer such an indignity in life or death. Yes, and he has a book on homeopathy. Patient history: Pravi Nagasai. Known conditions: blessed with Mark of Universe, age 25, so his burns. Destined to live forever. Ongoing recommendations: get plenty of sun on face, a sign of respect for the fire that marked you. Great. Embrace rather than treat the marks with which you have been blessed. Oh, I just realized, is this a bucket of vomit? That's a vomit bucket. That's gross. Copy of notes from previous appointment. November 10th, 1940. Symptoms: foamy vomit. Diagnosis: solar plexus chakra blockages. Prescription: homeopathic solution 104. Notes: all followers also affected. Some are so arrogant as to favor Western medicine. Like cures like. Illness: hay fever. Symptom: tears. Alternate cause of symptom: onion. Homeopathic cure for illness: onion. Okay. Insomnia: alternate cause of symptom: coffee. Homeopathic cure for illness: coffee. If a certain substance normally causes a particular symptom, a homeopathic remedy made from that substance will cure the illness that produces the same symptom. So it's kind of like a hair of the dog kind of thing. Homeopathic remedies are made by repeatedly diluting the active ingredient until not a single speck remains, just water. Okay. Important. I recognize you from the promo art. How is this even possible? After the Waterfall's proclamation just the other day. Oh, how will we go on without him? So, the Waterfall's proclamation is the indication that he will live forever, I'm sure. Don't you see? It's as I've been telling everyone for over a year now. Our father never truly understood the Waterfall's proclamations. Clearly, it is his spirit that will survive eternally. Now take this and pass it around outside once you're done. So, I'm guessing because of the likeness of the hair, these two men are the sons. Vote. Should there be an autopsy? The only one who's voted no is Ori. Why did we get Pravi from that? That's not on this list. A bucket filled with vomit. Yep, I was right. Equipment must be washed in pure alcohol between tests to remove contaminants. Okay. Today is my son's 25th birthday, making them the same age as I was when I fulfilled the ancient prophecy and took on this mantle. Kwanzaa is concerned that our boys are not worthy of their destinies. So Kwanzaa is the wife. I must admit, I am too. Her intuition has developed impressively since she first arrived here, days before the second proclamation. She has become a fine mother. Okay, so she has been here since the 1910s, Kwanzaa. Saturday. Everything is clear now. The Waterfall agrees, and the universe has provided a solution that does not contradict any past proclamations. I will reveal the message this evening. A solution to what? First thing this morning, before anyone else was awake, I found that our stupid goat escaped again. Must have chewed through his rope last night while we were all asleep, as he was definitely there when everyone went to bed yesterday, so that explains the short rope. Okay, nothing else in here. Where else could there be spots? Oh, over here. Oh no! The goat! Belly? Oh, its belly was shaved? Method. Start timer and observe effects. 6. After test, clean equipment and water. Results. Only took 7 minutes to reach stage 1, and another 15 for the full effect. This method works, ready to proceed. So this is someone planning the poisoning, it seems. The bottle is unopened. Okay. Alright, let's start getting to work on these names. So this is definitely Pravi Nagasai. These are his sons. Okay. Jolene Prenzi is this woman, I think. Rallo Krish is the homeopathy guy, so Rallo Krish and Jolene Prenzi, not Pravi, Prenzi. Okay. This is Gresto. Ori and Koi are the boys. That's right. By the time I awoke, Kwanzaa was already laying the table. Okay, so Kwanzaa is the woman who is currently in charge of setting out food. So this is Kwanzaa. Let's see. The Q goes with R, so her surname is not Nagasai. She's not actually married to him. Her last name must be Raffelli then. I'm guessing. I won't go into that right now. Okay, so from this I can tell that Kwanzaa is currently in charge of cooking. So it must be Monday. Okay. Okay, this person is currently in charge of currently has a watering can. So they must be AT. Tranta. And the only A name we have is Anya. And I think this is Raffelli. I think this must be Nosy then. These must all be the women of the tribe. Gresto? Does GN is one of the words we have? Gresto. Gresto Nosy. Now we just need to decide which of these boys is Ori and which of them is Koi. Ori is the one who did not want there to be an autopsy. And he says, take this and pass it around outside once you're done. So he doesn't want there to be an autopsy. And he is also the only one who has marked his answer yet. So it seems that he made this, so I think that this must be Ori. And this is Koi. Yay! Alright. And now for the seats. How are we supposed to figure this out? I really have no idea. There was no indication of, like, food preferences or anything. Okay. And the only indication I got of when anyone joined is that Kwanzaa has been here since here. Okay, hold on. I don't know what even indicates which side of the table that the first Sentinel is sitting at. And also, is he even sitting at the table? Hold on. Where was the book? This book. First Sentinel. The first Sentinel must be here. I say this because I really have no clue. Was there anything to indicate preferences anywhere? Last night's leftovers. I threw up all foamy after dinner, but soon I was fine again. Okay, I think that the two people who threw up must have had the same food. So these two women. There aren't 3 of these. So the 2 women must have taken the same thing. Yeah, had the same food. So those 2 women are either sitting here or here. My guess is that because the first Sentinel is dead, that they did not set the table for him. In which case, let's just figure out who among these people does have a place set for them. So these 2, yes. These 3, and probably him as well. I can't imagine he wouldn't be eating with them. Okay. Let's see. Is there any hint of what the goat had been eating? Because... all the fish in the river were throwing up too. That's so sad. Mint, jasmine, chili. Do we see, like, which of these bottles is the most opened or something? I don't know. Alright, let's take a look at this. Someone died of something because someone put something into something. Okay. We can start with this. Pravi Nagasai died of poisoning because someone put something into something. Antiemetics avoid alcohol during usage period. I really have no clue. Virus. What's in here? Equipment must be washed in pure alcohol between tests to remove all contaminants. I don't really understand what this is. Does this belong to the doctor? Today is my son's 25th birthday, making him the same age as I was when I fulfilled the ancient prophecy and took on this mantle. So the sons have been here for 25 years. They've been around... Let me do some quick math. They've been around as long as some of the first proclamations. And the sons... Okay, the sons are twins. Yeah? The sons are twins. That's why this rule was added. So, these two plates must be there. So, my guess is that this seat belongs to Kwanzaa. These two belong to the sons, and I'll put them both here as placeholders. I don't know who would be who. Okay, so the first Sentinel does have a place set for him. In that case, I think he would be over here. Then the boys would be here. Kwanzaa... No, actually. If the first Sentinel is over here, then I need these two women to have eaten the same food. Hold on. By the time I awoke, Kwanzaa was already laying at the table. Ori and Koi have been allowed to see their father while the rest of us wait outside. Huh. Kwanzaa was already laying the table. I have no clue for this. See, my thought is that these two have to be the twins because they're the same distance from this side of the table, so they must have arrived at the cult at the same time, so... But these are the only two. If the first Sentinel is sitting here, the first Sentinel can't have sat here if these are his sons. Because Kwanzaa, the mother, would necessarily have to have arrived before her sons did. You know? So where's a spot for her between the first Sentinel and these two? But I also feel like these two must have eaten the same food. Here's a question. Which of these looks wrong? Does any of them look wrong? Compared to this? The wild mix looks fine. The fresh mix looks fine. The mild mix looks fine. And the earth mixes both look fine. Okay. This is my only thought. Just put them in randomly. No, it's incorrect. Yeah. And if I switch the boys... Okay, 2 or fewer incorrect here. And if I switch the boys around... Okay. So, just by kind of guessing which of the boys sat here. Okay. When a first Sentinel dies, his eldest son succeeds him. If the first Sentinel had no sons, there can be no new first Sentinel. I really might just have to brute force this whole thing. Because I am clueless. Okay, here's a question. Who did the cooking last night? GN. GN did the cooking last night. Gresto knows he did the cooking last night. So... did she... Alright, I need to take a look at every single thing here. Antiemetics. Moondrift. I don't know what Moondrift is, so that doesn't really help me. Moisturizer. Clear jojoba oil, jasmine petal paste. Mouthwash, toothbrush, a razor. Also, who was on overnight watch? First thing this morning, before anyone else was awake, I found that our stupid goat escaped again. Must have chewed through his rope last night while we were all asleep, as he was definitely there when everyone went to bed yesterday. Whoever was on night watch on Saturday must have freed the goat. Hold on. So, Koi Nagasai must have freed the goat. What is this? I'm so confused. So Kwanzaa might be here. Kwanzaa might be sitting here because in order for there to be a cult, I feel like someone needs a follower. So when this proclamation was made, one of these two women must have been there already. As for Sentinel Nakasai's scribe of 28 years. Okay. She's been there the longest. I knew that was a clue I was missing. Okay. This woman is a scribe, so... she must be new. Yay! Okay, now what about the kitchen? Which recipes caused sickness and which didn't? Okay, this was the clue I was missing. I did sort of brute force it by guessing which twin was sitting where. And I kind of am curious to see which hint would be. Like, I don't know which son would be where. I think that might honestly be something they expected you to brute force to use the 2 or fewer incorrect for, which is out of character for this game, but I don't know, making full use of all of its mechanics, I can appreciate that. Alright, which recipes caused sickness and which didn't? So, this should be easy to figure out. These two were sick. This caused sickness because she was ill. This caused sickness. These were fine because she wasn't sick and the boys weren't sick. Therefore, what must have been contaminated? This doesn't make sense then. Because these two recipes do not share any. They don't share any ingredients, but they do share something. They are the only recipes which have ground ingredients, so it must be the mortar and pestle that was contaminated. Okay. The goat died. Because someone... Okay, let's take a closer look at the goat. Something on its belly. I think that they must have rubbed something on the goat's belly and that's why it's shaved. There's a rubber glove here. So they must have been handling it with their hands, whatever they rubbed on the goat's belly. I think they rubbed it on the goat's belly. Okay. So the goat died because someone ground something using the mortar and pestle. Ground something into a paste. What would kill the goat? What would have killed the goat? I'm not seeing any clue as to who would have killed the goat. The ground... Moondrift? Okay, that was just a guess. How are we supposed to figure that out? Moondrift. How are we supposed to know what Moondrift is? Homeopathic Solution 104. Hold on. Homeopathic Solution 104 is his prescription for... See, I don't think I brute forced that. I think there was an intuition there. Because... I see. His prescription for the vomit was a homeopathic solution that was made out of something that would cause vomiting, then diluted extremely. But someone didn't make it right. They didn't dilute it correctly. So Moondrift is something that causes vomiting. I don't know where it would be grown, but it must be poisonous. He died of... He died of forever poisoning. Died of... food poisoning? Because someone put Moondrift paste. So... Someone put moondrift paste in the... I'm not entirely sure why he died. He died of foamy vomiting. Someone must have put the moondrift poisoning because someone put homeopathic medicine, perhaps? No. So... What was his food? He ate mint leaves, mustard seeds, coriander seeds. Ravi Nagasai. Could he have died of... Could he have died of alcohol poisoning? Because someone put, like, antiemetic medicine? No. I don't see antiemetic anywhere. No. I'm completely stumped. Died of food poisoning because someone put moondrift paste in the food. Okay. So two things are wrong. Let's see. So this one must be wrong. These two must be wrong. He died of... No. Moondrift. Moondrift poisoning because someone put homeopathic medicine. They put moondrift paste in the mortar and pestle? No. They put it in the medicine. They put it in the goat. They put it in the moisturizer. Oh. Moisturize burn areas each night before bed. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm so brute forcing this one. But it's hard, man, it's hard. On Saturday, he announced that he would live forever. Alright, I think we can figure this one out pretty... Like, I'm figuring these things out through brute forcing, but then I'm like discovering... I'm discovering pretty quickly what the method for figuring it out would be. On Saturday, Pravi Nagasai announced that he would live forever. Live forever. Where's forever? Forever, forever, forever. Later, this must be the person who was on overnight watch duty. Later, on overnight watch duty, I think it was Resto Nosy, took the goat to the pond for a test. After it was done, so I think ground the mood drift in the mortar and pestle. But not with... Therefore, when the mortar and pestle was used to prepare Sunday's dinner, it made people sick. That night, Ravi Nagasai used the moisturizer. So, Bresto knows he must have taken the goat to the pond on overnight duty, but I can't quite understand why. It seems that whoever this briefcase belongs to has some sort of life outside of this cult. Yeah, I have no clue. Ravi Nagasai announced to the world that he would leave forever. Later, while on overnight duty. Overnight duty could be... The thing about the overnight watch is that because it's overnight, the overnight watchman could be Saturday's overnight watchman or Sunday's overnight watchman. So I actually don't think it was her, because she was sick last night, so she probably wouldn't have been able to do overnight watch. On Saturday. So who was on overnight watch on Saturday? It would have been... But then he wouldn't have written that the goat had escaped in his diary if he was the overnight watchman. So it must have been Gresto. No. No, overnight watch was Koi. Overnight watch was Koi. Took the goat to the pond for a test. After it was done, hold on. Mortar and pestle was used to prepare Sunday's dinner. Someone ground something. Would it have been Koi? Nagasai? who ground the moisturizer in the mortar and pestle. But not with Jasmine? Is that what we're going for here? No. Ground the moondrift in the mortar and pestle. On Saturday, Pravi Nagasai announced that he would live forever. Later, while on overnight watch duty, Koi Nagasai, who I'm guessing is going to be important to this story because he's basically the person on the cover art for this game. He took the goat to the pond. For what? I think he took the goat to the pond for a test. Someone must have ground the moondrift in the mortar and pestle. After it was done, could it have been Rollo Krish who ground it up? I don't know. It has to be ground, the moondrift and the mortar and pestle. But not with what? I have a feeling that this guy ground the stuff up. Where would moisturizer even fit in here? What even works with this? Not with alcohol. Not with any of these. Not with medicine. Moisturizer? No. I don't understand. I don't understand. The thing is, I don't understand why the thing was done with the goat. For a test? A test of what? That it would kill somebody? Start timer and observe effect. After test, clean equipment and water. Only took 7 minutes to reach stage 1 and another 15 for the full effect. I don't know. I know that mortar and pestle is the answer here. Pravi Nagasai used a moisturizer. We know that. Pravi Nagasai announced he would live forever. I need a hint. Okay. Be present. Received hint. What are the poison symptoms? Yeah, I know. This isn't what I need help with. I need help with what the deal with the goat is. Alright, I'm late for work. I need to stop. I'll come back to this later. Alright, everybody, it is the next day. I took a break for a day. Yesterday, I got very, very frustrated. And I was recording before I went to work. So I was on a time crunch that made me even more frustrated with the fact that I wasn't solving it in due time, but today's Saturday, I don't have work, I don't have any obligations through the rest of the day, so I have all the time in the world to just sit down and slowly think through this. So, I'm going to take everything out of here. I'm going to remove everything from here, and we're going to slowly go through everything without making any assumptions and try and see if there's any alternatives that I haven't considered or assumptions that I've made. Alright. Because there are still some things that, of course, I've been thinking about this constantly over the past day. There are some things that are still really tripping me up. Particularly this, but not with. Like, what, without what? That is what is really throwing me. So, I don't know. We'll do what we're more confident in first, and then come to this last. Alright. So, I'm pretty confident that this first red box is Pravi Nagasai, or whatever his name is. Pravi Nagasai. Because he's the one who would be making announcements, right? Because he's the first Sentinel. Let's see, it says in his journal, on Saturday, he revealed a message. And the message that he would have revealed would have been the last one. Right? The last one on here, that he will live forever. So that's what we're going to put here. Live forever. Yes. Alright, so. Later. So this would be also on Saturday. While on something duty. Someone took something to something for a something. I'm quite certain that this is talking about the goat. Because immediately after this, Pravi complains about the goat going missing. After everyone went to bed. So I'm pretty sure this would have to be the overnight guard, the overnight watch. Right? Because they would be the only one awake. So whatever this is, it would be the overnight watchman. And on Saturday, that would have been Koi Nagasai, the sun. It could be possible that the overnight watchman on Saturday night going into Sunday morning could be the Sunday morning overnight watchman. But that would make this person Pravi Nagasai, and I don't think he would be complaining about something mysterious happening overnight if he was the one responsible for it in his diary. So I'm going to assume that this is Koi Nagasai. And there I'm saying the word assumption, but I think I actually have a pretty good logical way of going about this. So he took the goat. We know this. And this specifically says that someone ground Moondrift into a paste using the mortar and pestle and put it on the goat's belly. This is the thing that's tripping me up the most, because this paragraph here implies the grinding. But if this is someone took the goat for a test, then they would have already ground the paste up. So why are we talking about after it was done, the grinding of the paste? So I think this is the goat. The goat is at the pond. I don't know. There's no other location. Is there? Alcohol, belly, chili, coriander, cumin, food, forever, goat, homeopathic, jasmine, knife, ladle, medicine, mint, moisturizer, moondrift, mortar and pestle, mustard, pan, paste, poisoning, pond, seed, sinners, test, virus, wealth. It must be pond. It's the only location. So that's the only thing that could go here. Took a goat to the pond for... And here... This could be a red herring. The fact that this briefcase that's talking about a test in its notebook is right next to where the goat is. It could be a red herring. It could be. But at the same time, if this is a place where someone goes to do secret things... What is this pattern on the tree? That's interesting, but I don't think it has to do with anything. I think it's just a vine. I think this must be the test. This must be where the test is. So I think I'm right about this. After it was done, okay. Oh, I think it just occurred to me. After it was done, this might be washed. Okay, it's coming to me. Okay. This is what this is supposed to be. Equipment must be washed in pure alcohol between tests to remove all contaminants. I think I figured it out. He washed it in the pond. He washed the mortar and pestle that he took here and used to grind up the... What is it called? The moondrift. He used to grind it up here. He took the mortar and pestle to grind up the moondrift here, because this is where the moondrift grows. And yes, this answers another question I was having about where they got the moondrift from, because it's not in the garden, but I'm seeing it here. This is where it grows. Okay, so this is not talking about the grinding. This is about talking about the washing of the materials. After it was done, Koi Nagasai washed the mortar and pestle in the pond, but not with alcohol, which is necessary for removing all of the contaminants from the equipment. I see. That's why they show us that the fish have also died, right? Because it's to show us that he washed the equipment, the contaminated equipment, in the lake, in the pond. I see, it's all coming together for me. So he washed it in the pond, but he didn't use alcohol. That's why it tells us that the bottle of gin is unopened. Therefore, when the mortar and pestle was used to prepare Sunday's dinner, it made people sick. That night, he probably put the... So Koi Nagasai probably put the moondrift in the moisturizer. So Pravi Nagasai used the moisturizer and he died. Oh my god! Oh! That's all it took was a break. And look, I did that in less than 10 minutes after I cleared my mind, taken a break from it. Oh, I'm so proud of myself, guys. I was recording for 45 minutes yesterday, and I don't know how much of that was raging over this last puzzle, but oh, less than 10 minutes. 2 weeks before the first Sentinel's death, Rollo Krish had prescribed a homeopathic moonjift solution to treat the Indipi virus and its main symptom, foamy vomit. Coy theorized that, according to the key principles of homeopathy, the moonjift flower should therefore cause foamy vomit. He wondered if it could be used as a topical poison to kill his father without arousing suspicion, and set about his test. Alright, so this boy who was weeping over his dead father's bedside is in fact his killer. I could have guessed as much. And I did, but... whew. You're listening to MU Today with me, Girali Palma. Our top story this morning. The king has announced plans to step down from royal duties following mounting pressure from the clergy and the public. In a statement, Tigor Palace said King Orant would relinquish power to his son, Prince Lutri, at an official ceremony on Wednesday. The announcement follows days of unrest, in which crowds have taken to the streets to protest the king's recent solstice speech, was centered around plans to westernize Lemuria. Okay, so Lutri was the current king, the one who got assassinated during the first puzzle. So hold on, let's go back here and take a look at the speech he was writing. Yeah, these are the orders that he was talking about. The bold decision he made to westernize the country. I see. So, Lutri took over... Actually, what was the name of the king who got Lutri Manzek? But the way it sounds, Lutri isn't the one who made the proclamation, it was his father. Well, maybe Lutri, maybe Lutri announced that he planned to continue with his father's plans. I don't know, and that's why the first Sentinel killed him, because assuming that the first Sentinel is Pravi Nagasai, he obviously has this kind of cultish way of looking about things, so he wouldn't like any sort of, I don't want to call westernization progress, but he would really be resistant to any attempts to change the culture of the country, I guess. Alright, well, I'm pleased with that. I'm awfully pleased with that. So we'll move on to the next scenario next time. Until then, I have been Mars, and I will be back with more The Rise of the Golden Idol.